Hello, today is 30th of May 2022. I decided to do a video on conjunctions with Saturn because obviously all the most of the comments that I get from people is just like really surrender into Saturn and just thinking that it's like, well, surrender into the chart full stop, because like, how is this going to be, how my marriage is going to be. Listen guys, I really can't answer those things because it really is down to you as an individual and how you live your life. You have free will. 20 to 30% of your life is you create that. If you're constantly fearful, fear equals bad energy, negative energy, boundaries, limits, lack. You're not going to create anything. Human beings, humankind, remember we are kind and we're here to help each other out. And as much as I can, you know, these are supposed to be informative videos so you can empower yourself. This is what we use astrology for. If you're using astrology to take that power away from yourself, what you're doing, you're restricting yourself even more. So you're doubling up on that Saturn. In fact, you're giving yourself more of a debilitated Saturn in a sense, because what you're doing, you're just thinking, I have no power. You have plenty of power, believe me. We are made of frequency. We can make things happen. This is why we are creative. Human beings are creative. Anyway, so I've got loads of videos on what Saturn is. You can just, you know, I might put some links below, but generally speaking, here is a little sort of intro on what Saturn is. So Saturn is our boundaries, our limits, discipline, and where in our chart we're actually paying off our karma. This is what we've chosen to do. This is almost like going to imagine, you know, this is what you want to do. This is like you've chosen this lifetime to do this. And don't worry, we've got loads and loads of lifetimes. We don't need to just like try and cram everything into one. But if you can cram things into one lifetime, do all the positive things. So where Saturn is, that is probably where it's aspecting, you know, obviously these are going to be like mega, but also aspects 3 houses away from itself and also 10 houses away from itself too. And I actually take that 10 spaces from 10 houses from Saturn as being quite a big one. So, but generally speaking, Saturn is important. Saturn is your, shows you your weaknesses, where you're shy, where you got like, you're blocking yourself, where you got to show humanity, humility, and remove your ego away from it. So where you don't feel good enough and you have to consciously work at it. So as I said, this is very, very, this is basically what we have to work on. And what would be the point of being on this earth if we have nothing to work on? So this is the start point of it. Saturn is obviously rules Capricorn and Aquarius. It's very, very strong in both. It's probably a little bit more autocratic and quite disciplined and unforgiving when it's in Capricorn. So we find people who actually have that in their natal chart, they are really hard on themselves, really hard. And we've all also suffered with that just recently, because we had that in Capricorn for just over 2 years since 2020, January 24th. It's just recently on 30th of April gone into Aquarius, but it is going to retrograde back into Capricorn again. But luckily it's going to be retrograde for most of it, obviously, until it goes direct. So, but without Saturn and the discipline of Saturn, you achieve nothing in life. That is what you've got to tell yourself. You know, if everything was hunky-dory and Jupiterian, idealistic, you have nothing at all. You just literally live on hope and optimism, being idealistic. So this is where we get the foundation, and we build from the ground up. So we get really solid foundations with the help of Saturn. There are also big learning curves for us with Saturn, where obviously we have our Sagittarius, where Saturn will be for just over about 2.5 years before the sign your moon is in, 2.5 years over your moon sign, and then 2.5 years after. So there are major changes in your life during that time. Again, don't fear it. I'll tell you, I have just come out of that, and it was really actually the best time of my life. And when I look back, my first Saturn return, that was when I started my business. So it just literally elevates you. If you go with it, if you put the hard work in, you're sure to get the results. And also when, so that was Sagittarius, and there's a Saturn return as well. So where Saturn is like, returns to where it is in your natal chart, in transit, it arrives back on there where it was when you were born. And that will be yours again. That could be quite a pivotal time in your life. So it's very important to just like really harness that energy that's given you to just like go for life and achieve and normally gives you quite a lot of success. People have got really good work at Saturn. And because Saturn is also the planet that gives you a lot more as you get older, at the time when you don't want to be having a lot of hardship and difficulties. So it's really supportive of life anyway, in that sense. Saturn rules, as I said, Capricorn and Aquarius. Aquarius is like multiconus sign for Saturn. So this is where Saturn is really strong, but in a more freedom-loving, humanitarian way. And it's also debilitated in Aries, and it's exalted in Libra because it's a sign of working with other people. Saturn is committed to other people. It's not like about me, myself, and I. It's very much about us collectively. And this is the reason why it's so strong in Aquarius. And just turn this up. So yeah, so this and Saturn is arch enemy to the Sun first, the Moon, and it's also enemies to Mars. It's neutral with Jupiter, friendly with Venus. Venus is Saturn's best friend because between them they bring commitment, bring family together. You work together, and then you gain from it. It is just commitment to yourself, to paying off your karma, and having other people in mind too, and also being committed to your partnerships and relationships and marriage. It's also friendly with Mercury. It works quite well with Ketu. It's not friendly with Rahu, because Rahu is all about gain and smoking mirrors, and you know, so it's a bit trickster, and Saturn doesn't like that. So Saturn is much more dignified as a planet in nature. Right, so I'm going to stop this now and come back, and we do Saturn conjunction starting with the Sun. Hello, this video is about the conjunction of Venus and Saturn in your chart. This could be a conjunction when they're both sitting together in a sign or opposite each other, and see how that actually impacts life. I've already been through Saturn's indications. Now let's have a look at Venus. So Venus is planet of love, planet of harmony, balance, more than anything, planet of choices we make in life, which are actually good for us rather than other people, because it rules the second house of the natural zodiac, which is about choices, making wise choices that are going to benefit me because I value myself. It's very much to do with self-love, and therefore making choices in life, not necessarily because something is good on the surface, but underneath it all, because this is planet of family, second house of the natural zodiac. Taurus is all about families, where moon is exalted. Therefore it brings very much like it's about like what is good. I want to be with somebody who's going to be with me, with my children, with our children, and we grow the family together and succeed together. This is the whole point, working together for a long-term aim. And Saturn and Venus being friendly towards each other, and Saturn actually gets exalted in the sign of Venus. Therefore, it's it's all about working together. This is also Saturn is planet of other people, community, underprivileged people. So it brings everything like that together, just like for the better, for the good of all, if you like. Now, Saturn rules the natural 10th and 11th house of zodiac, which are the signs that get better with time. They are Upachaya houses. One of them is also, obviously, 10th house is an angle. And then 11th house is house of wealth, gains. And Venus rules 2nd and 7th house of natural zodiac. So again, house of family and resources, money, savings, what you have in the bank, and also an angle. So together they bring two angle houses into the equation, and also two houses of wealth, money, gains and savings. So it's very long term, doing things for long term. When Venus and Saturn come together, it creates money naturally, particularly if you are Aries ascendant. But generally speaking, there are two planets of wealth, 2nd and 11th house ruler. And what happens is we've just been through all the indications of Venus, which is also Venus's rejuvenation and feeling good, just feeling good and seeing beauty in everything, being really in contact with the it rules heart chakra. It's like I can receive. I can receive love and give love and receive love in as an exchange, because it rules 7th house of natural zodiac. And so when these two planets come together, despite the fact that they're friendly, it's still Saturn is a malefic. So it's going to make everything to do with love blossom later in life, because the person could possibly have shyness about them in relationships. And obviously it depends on the condition of Venus. If Venus is stronger than Saturn, then hallelujah, it's really good. But they want long-term relationships. They're not really the sort of people who want to just like, they are very, very much about the long-term things. So even if they have like more than one relationship, which that can happen because Venus is sitting with another planet, they do in the end make the right choices because they learn what's good for them and what's good for their family. And even if they get really good offers from really handsome, good-looking women or men or whatever, they really are quite grounded about love. They know what's really what is good long term. And so there's a shyness about relationships. They could also lack, particularly if Saturn is stronger than Venus, they could be like a lack of self-value, lack of confidence, lack of seeing the beauty within themselves, because there's a self-worth issue there. And so that shyness can mean that these people, when Venus is really getting quite weak, then it could be that they just literally settle for relationships which are definitely not good for them, and they make poor decisions because of that, and there'll be losses as a result. So this could be dependent on the actual ascendant. So there are lessons to be learned there naturally. So this is pretty much what you can learn through this, and because also this is Venus, planet of rejuvenation and seeing the beauty in everything. So they could actually see the lack in everything before they see the beauty. So they could also, in relationship, they could be a little bit like, you didn't do this, you didn't do that kind of thing. And but generally, because after sports you naturally rejuvenate well if your Venus is strong. If Venus is weak in this situation, sitting with particularly if Saturn is strong, then they could actually hurt their thyroid. They have problems with kidneys, bladder issues, kidney infections, recurring ones, things like that. So this is what you can see through that. Let's have a look at the ascendants now. Okay, so for Aries ascendant, this will be 2nd and 7th house ruler. when they come together, obviously it creates money, wealth, and gives a mature, obviously it's always going to be a mature person as well. So wherever they go, if they go into a trinal house like first, fifth, or ninth house, this will be really nice because it brings multiple yogas into equation. So there'll be Raja Dana yogas, but generally speaking, this is really good for depending on where they are. But it brings together second and 11th house rulers, for money. That will be really good. And so you can see that they are very much dedicated to their family. Is very important to them. Family possessions, generally just working it together and bringing the whole family, family unit together, and be supportive of one another as well. For Taurus ascendant, Venus rules 1st and 6th, and 9th and 10th house ruler is Saturn. So Saturn is Yoga Karaka planet, very nice planet for them, but Venus is 1st and 6th lord. So obviously, because it's the 1st lord, it does create lovely yogas and everything. However, there will be some difficulties because of the 6th house, because 6th house ruler does spoil the yogas. So there will definitely be issues about debt, divorce, discord, disputes, but very service oriented too. So their job could be to do with service and service to women, perhaps. But they go through some difficulties before they learn their own value, because they could be their own enemies, because 1st house ruler also rules 6th house. They can create their own debt, they can create their own enemies and their own obstacles. But with time and everything, because obviously 6th and 10th house, they're both Upachaya, then both 6th house things get better, which is health. They learn how to deal with their daily routines, manage their money, manage themselves daily, and also their career. Okay. So Gemini ascendant for you guys, 5th and 12th house ruler is Venus, and Saturn rules for you what would be 8th and 9th house. So both 8th and 12th house coming together, obviously it's a Viparit Raj yoga. This could be through difficulties, changes, losses, whatever like that. Sudden transformation. Things can start really give good fruits for you. And so 8th, they don't really break any yogas, and brings together 5th house and 9th house ruler as well. So this can be really nice in terms of education, children, family, brings lovely, all those lovely things together. But there could also be like some issues with dad there, some issues maybe with children too, where they, because it also rules 12th house. So they definitely will suffer from empty nest syndrome when the kids go to university and things like that. But it's a very cultural thing. It does look, it is pretty nice conjunction there. Okay, so next ascendant. So here we have, this is for you guys, for Cancer, Venus rules 4th and 11th house, and Saturn rules 7th and 8th house. So Venus rules one angle and Saturn another. So two strong angles there. And obviously what happens here, it's for you guys, 11th house is also creates money for you. So there could be sudden gain of land or sudden gain of that can be through marriage, through family, creating a family, through your mum, that kind of thing, or even divorce, inheritance or something. But that can get activated where you gain like property, and property can bring you gains too. And so next ascendant, we have obviously this is going to be like for Leo ascendant, Venus rules 3rd and 10th house, and 6th and 7th house are ruled by Saturn. So it brings together 2 two angles and also two upachaya houses. So you know that, actually three upachaya houses, you know that things will just improve with time. You just got to be patient, put a lot of effort in, work hard at serving people and community, and really working on daily routine, your health and all that kind of stuff. And things will come through better for you then in that case. And all of that effort that you put in, the service that you put in and everything else makes you really sort of stand out in your work too. And there would be quite a pleasurable work in that sense, because obviously their 10th house is Taurus, which is a nice fixed sign, and they can really, it can be quite enjoyable work in that sense. So this is again, you know, as I said, this is going to be like 6th and 3rd house and 10th house being all of them. It's one of those that requires patience, and the more creativity and the more, you know, it could also show that there could be like a divorce. There could be debts, there could be obstacles and discord and things like this at work or at with your partner. But and they could also work in litigation or law, help people out of debt, work in teaching, that kind of thing. And then next one is Virgo ascendant. For you, Venus rules 2nd and 9th house, really nice planet for you. And you have Saturn that rules for your 5th and 6th house. So Saturn breaks the yoga for you, but it does get better with time. But you know, this is planet of family, home, family, father, and resources, Venus, and a trinal lord. So it's good in that sense that if you're actually working with students and as an advisor, working in service, maybe educating young children or advising people, and you know, that could be good. But they are, you know, they should really be careful of investing anything, and their children could, once they have kids, they could start overspending and getting themselves into some sort of debt. But yeah, so generally speaking, though, you know, you've got to watch out for the family health and everything. So, because 2nd house is also how we eat. So, just kind of being aware of that, because obviously Venus will be sitting with, you know, eating poor foods, sugary foods, and things like that could upset the health of yourself or your partner. And so those things are to be considered. Then for Libra ascendant, so this is 1st and 8th house ruler when it comes together with Saturn, which is your Karaka planet ruling 4th and 5th house. It's fantastic, really, really nice. This brings Raja, Dana Yoga. It's fantastic combination, unless if it goes into the 6th house. Excuse me. Oh dear, I got terrible hay fever. Apologies for that. Anyway, so yeah, so this is a wonderful setting, brings happiness, brings children, and just there will be sudden changes in home. You could move home quite a lot, look after children and your own and the mother's health. But generally speaking, it's lovely for family and get together. There's really massive commitment towards family life. Okay, then we have Scorpio ascendant. For you guys, Venus rules 7th and 12th house, and Saturn 3rd and 4th house. So these people could, obviously, there's a spending issue, and they got to put a lot of effort into their relationships to make it work, because also Venus rules the 12th house of losses and expenses, and buying a home. Make sure you do your homework, because obviously that could also create issues with moving. Generally speaking, they could be moving quite a lot, and they could be moving abroad. Once they actually get into a relationship, they could move as a result. But yeah, it's kind of thing that you know, you could be very little communication with being you know, mom or with your siblings, things like that. The person will be not very committed to, you know, just not not always very good at responding to messages and things, emails and stuff, and that could be like a little bit like misread by other people. But generally speaking, they would, the more effort they put into their home and their relationship, the happier they get, because there are obviously two angles involved in this. So they will be quite profound in that sense. And as long as it doesn't go into a sixth house, then it should work out. They learn how not to create their own expenses and losses, and learn to complete tasks, because they can start a lot of things with this but not actually finish it. So like their home can have a lot of disrepair, but because they don't deal with it, they then become bigger than what they should be. Also with cars and just generally, yeah. Okay, next one is Sagittarius ascendant. For you, Saturn rules second and third house, and Venus rules 6th and 11th. So Venus is not a good planet for you. Sixth house obviously spoils things, but it is also an Upachaya house, so it's 11th house, and as is third house. So there are things to do with communication, family, just being with friends, and savings and gains and things, daily routine, looking after their health and stuff. They just learn about these things as time goes along, and as the more they work at it, the better things become for them. But they really have to put a lot of effort into getting things done. Otherwise their health can suffer. They can have thyroid issues, bladder issues, that kind of thing. Next one is Capricorn. First and second house ruler Saturn, and Yoga Karaka planet ruling 5th and 10th house Venus. So this is wonderful. It creates lovely yogas in many ways. It's good for money. It's a second and ninth house ruler, so it's all first and ninth house ruler, good for money. Raja yogas of success, wealth, doing well, just accomplishments. So this is wonderful. As long as it doesn't fall into sixth house, this will be absolutely amazing, and bringing a family together, work and all of those things, children, education, creativity, everything will be very pleasurable. They just know how to live that family life, these people. It's amazing. Get the nice balance. But obviously you hope that Venus is stronger than Saturn in this one. Okay, so for Aquarius ascendant, this is a 12th and first house ruler Saturn with Venus, which is Yoga Karaka, rules 4th and 9th house. So brings parents into the equation, this one. And 12th and first house. So it could be like parents' health. One of them could be hospitalized. Maybe they've moved away and they live abroad to you, or you live abroad to them. And yeah, so just kind of, as long as you complete things, and maybe dad or mum, you didn't see them growing up, one had passed away, or maybe you brought up in a step family or something like that. But with time, things get better. This is actually not too bad. 12th house doesn't ruin any form of yoga. As long as it doesn't fall in the 6th house, should be fine. So it's like first and 4th house ruler together, because it's a Dana yoga, Raj yoga and Dan yoga, first and 9th house ruler. So in many ways, it's pretty good like that. So, but there will be some challenges in terms of like, there'll be losses, there'll be travel, there'll be like isolation at times, things like that. Then we have Pisces ascendant. For you, Venus is not a good planet. It rules 3rd and 8th house, so an Upachaya and a Dushtana house. And Saturn also rules an Upachaya and Dushtana house, 11th and also 12th house. So this is obviously, that it's going to be difficult for these people to hold on to their gains, because 11th house rule also rules the 12th house. But they have to learn to just put effort, be brave, and just really tackle things. There are always going to be like sudden changes in their life, and there's like sudden changes in fortune, sudden changes in status, sudden changes in friends, hobbies, that kind of thing. And but through that they learn, because 2 of these houses are Dushtana houses. They get better. They learn how to, through effort, energy, being brave, being willful, completing things, that kind of thing, and stop spending and not sort of self-sacrificial things, like addictions and things, then they can actually pretty much, because this Viparit Raj Yoga is created too, as long as 6th house is not involved in this conjunction or aspect, and they could actually do pretty well if they just put a lot of effort into things and complete due diligence with things, and just making sure that they keep their thought process more positive, really, as well. Okay, that's it from me about Venus Saturn. I'll see you soon. Thank you.